At the hospital, my father and the doctors were confused, but when I asked them to run some toxicology tests on my father, they understood immediately once the results came back. You see, I realized that my stepmother must have been slowly poisoning my father so that he died slowly, and so that it looked like some unknown illness instead of poisoning. She didn't want me to buy their home so that they could pay my father's medical bills. She wanted the money so that she could leave the country once my father was dead. Hi there, my name is Malcolm, and I came very close to making a huge mistake. So much so that I almost lost someone very close to me as a result. So for starters, let me say that my mother passed away quite a few years ago when I was very young, and my father has tried to date off and on since. At first, he had trouble moving on as he felt that it was betraying the memory of my mother, but after a lot of long talks with me, I helped him to understand that he wasn't. I mean, he deserved to be happy, and I hated seeing him feeling lonely. However, I never would have imagined that one day he would get married to someone like Megan. She was very beautiful and very young. Honestly, in the beginning, Megan seemed like a nice enough person, and when my father first met her, she really did seem like a good fit for him. That is until I started noticing things that made me start to dislike her. It was really simple stuff. My father never really had much of a sense of style. He typically would always just wear a t-shirt and blue jeans. But after he started dating Megan, he began wearing polo shirts and dress pants all the time. Hey Dad, why are you dressed up like you are going to work? You do know that it's Saturday, right? Yeah, I'm just wearing normal clothes. Normal for who? Are you really comfortable in that getup?
He looks fine, Malcolm. This is how a man should dress, not like a slob like he used to. If you ever want to get a wife as well, then I suggest you maybe follow your father's lead.
Her words were very annoying, but the more I paid attention, the more that Megan would say things to my dad and make him change things about himself. It very much felt like she was molding him to be the perfect boyfriend, or at least what she considered to be the perfect boyfriend. At first it was just the way he dressed, but then she started planning out everything that he ate. She emptied the refrigerator and stocked it full of organic foods and nothing processed. And I get it. That isn't really that bad of a thing. My father did eat rather unhealthily, but it was more the level of control that she had over him that worried me. I had tried to get him to stop eating TV dinners with no luck, and after a month of dating Megan, he was eating barely any meat and more vegetables than even I was. So for years it went like that until eventually my father and Megan got married. That wedding was a nightmare. Megan barked orders at everyone, and every decision, no matter how small, had to be okayed with her first. At any rate, shortly after they were married, I met Rita, and I was just grateful that I had found someone that wasn't like Megan. Rita was gorgeous and had such a fun and adventurous personality. We loved spending time together. The only hang-up was that Rita hadn't always been good with her money. When she was younger, she had a tendency to overspend, and as such, she never really gotten herself a place of her own and rented a house with 4 other friends. Meanwhile, I was very frugal, and I had bought a house years ago, and I had very nearly paid it off even. Around that time, I proposed to Rita, and she screamed out in joy, "Yes!" It was a magical occasion, and I was so excited about finally getting married. I went and told my father and Megan the good news, and they both genuinely seemed happy for me. I knew my father would be happy, but for Megan to be happy felt odd somehow. Shortly after I proposed, Rita moved in with me, but then we got some devastating news. My father began to feel ill all the time. He would wake up feeling fine, but at some point in the day, he would begin to feel nauseous and could barely keep any food down. He started to waste away. He had been a bit on the heavy side for all his life, but he could eat so little that he began to drastically lose weight. It was startling to watch, and I felt powerless to help him. I tried to get all kinds of his favorite foods, but he couldn't eat any of them. It was incredibly awkward for me, because I felt so powerless to help my father, while at the same time I was so excited that I was going to be getting married soon. I felt like I was being torn in 2 directions. Then one day, Megan approached me with something that I would never really expect.
Hey, Malcolm, can I talk to you in private?
Sure, of course. What's up?
Well, I just wanted to ask you something. You see, your father needs special medical care and we can't really afford it, while at the same time, you will be getting married soon, and you'll need a bigger home since you and Rita will probably start having kids. That small house of yours isn't big enough for a family.
What are you saying?
Well, I was thinking, why don't you buy our house? That way, we would have the money for your father's medical bills, and you can have a home fit for a family. What do you say?
I guess I'll think about it. But if Dad needs money, I can lend him some to help with his medical bills.
No, we need more than just a small amount of money. Just go and speak with Rita and let us know what you decide.
That night, I went home and spoke with Rita. My stepmother thinks that I should buy their house because mine is too small for a family.
Well, she's right. Plus, it's close to some good schools, too.
Wait, did she talk with you about this?
Well, yes. And I agree that it is a good idea.
You don't think it sounds a bit suspicious?
No, not at all. You're being paranoid.
There was something in the way that Rita was speaking that I suddenly felt paranoid with her words. I couldn't shake the feeling that she was in league with Megan somehow. After all, why hadn't she mentioned that my stepmother had suggested that we buy their home until now? I don't think I'll take her up on the deal. I mean, sure, they'll have money after the sale of the house, but where will they live? I don't think they've really thought this thing through.
Oh, okay, I guess.
That night we went to bed, and in the morning Rita left for work early. Minutes after she left the house, there was a loud crash, and suddenly Rita's car was in our living room. She had driven through the front of the house and had totaled most of the living room and kitchen. What the devil did you do? Are you okay?
Oh, Malcolm, I'm so sorry. I must have gotten a flat tire as I was leaving, and when I tried to back out of our driveway and then drive off, I lost control and slammed into the house.
I'm just glad that you're all right. The house and car can be replaced. You can't. The front two tires of the car were indeed flat, but I was confused as to how she had managed to gain so much speed to damage the house so severely. At any rate, I called the police and made a report of the accident. As I was standing outside, I was approached by one of my neighbors, who looked a bit shaken up. Hey, George, is everything okay? Oh, hey, Malcolm. Listen, I have something to tell you, and it may be nothing, but I just thought I would tell you. What is it, George? Well, I saw Rita pull out of your driveway this morning and then get out of the car and stab both front tires with a knife and then drive the car straight into your house. What? I'm so sorry to give you such awful news, but I thought I would tell you. After all, there is a camera on my doorbell that recorded it as well, and I'm sure the police will ask for the video as part of their investigation, so I figured I would tell you before they asked. I thanked George for telling me and asked him for a copy of the video so I could confront Rita and get some answers from her. Alone inside the upstairs of our house, I showed her the recording and demanded answers from her. What the hell were you doing? It's very clear that you rammed your car into the house on purpose. What possessed you to do it?
It was all your stepmother's idea. She told me that if I figured out a way to destroy this house, that you would have no choice but to buy their house. And I want a bigger house. This place is too small for us to start a family in.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My fiancé had destroyed our home on purpose, and all because my stupid stepmother told her to. I wanted to give Megan a piece of my mind, and so I stormed over to my father's house. They were sitting down to lunch, and my father looked to be in good spirits. A bit worn down, but overall good. Megan, however, looked panicked, like I had walked in on something. Just as I was about to scream at her, my nose picked up an odd scent. Following the smell, I reached for the plate of food in front of my father. It smelled like antifreeze. I almost didn't notice it with all the potpourri that was in the kitchen. I suddenly realized what was happening, and I grabbed my father and dragged him out of the house. I then drove him to the hospital. While on the way, I called the police and reported my stepmother for attempting to kill my father. The police were skeptical, but they brought her in for questioning. At the hospital, my father and the doctors were confused, but when I asked them to run some toxicology tests on my father, they understood immediately once the results came back. You see, I realized that my stepmother must have been slowly poisoning my father so that he died slowly, and so that it looked like some unknown illness instead of poisoning. She didn't want me to buy their home so that they could pay my father's medical bills. She wanted the money so that she could leave the country once my father was dead. Then she would get the money from the house and my father's life insurance as well. Once the doctors confirmed my suspicions, they sent the findings to the police, who arrested Megan and charged her with attempted murder. My father was of course devastated, but also a bit relieved. Sadly, he had been very unhappy with Megan, but had been too much of a coward to say anything or break it off with her. Then when he started to get sick, and she started taking care of him, he felt that he owed it to her to keep doing as she said. It should have been a huge red flag for him when she had him take out a large life insurance policy, but my father just ignored all the warning signs. Shortly afterwards, Megan was sent to prison for her attempts to kill my father. Sadly, she was only sentenced to 10 years in prison, but at least my father divorced her, seeing as how she tried to murder him. The judge let my father keep all the assets and belongings and left Megan with nothing. At least when she got out of prison, she would either be forced to live on the streets or move in with a family member that was dumb enough to give her a chance. As for my father, once Megan was no longer giving him poisoned food, he began to make a full recovery. He has sworn off dating for the rest of his life, and honestly, I can't really blame him. As for me, well, Rita ended up going to prison for destruction of private property. Just like with Megan, she didn't get much prison time. Only a few years, but by the time she's out, I'll have moved on. I drained the mutual bank accounts we had and moved all the money from them to a personal account. Thankfully, my house insurance agreed to pay for the repairs to my home. Unlike my father, I do intend to date again, but I'll be far more picky the next time. I'm just glad that I was able to see through Megan's insidious plan before it really did more damage. Had I bought my father's house, I wouldn't have been able to afford it and would have gone into bankruptcy. A fact that Megan didn't really care about. So all in all, I am pretty sure that both my father and I are in much better places, and while Megan and Rita are stuck behind bars. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below saying I subscribed, and we will try our best to reply to your comment.
When Andrew was 16, his father brought a strange woman home.
Well, Betty, or whatever it is you call yourself, it's time you leave. We've tolerated your pathetic self enough. Father and I don't need you anymore.
I was heartbroken. My own son called me by my name and said I wasn't needed anymore. I'm your mother, Andrew. How can you say such to me, son?
Hearing you calling me your son makes my ears bleed. Get out before I push you out myself, fat lady. You heard the boy. Get lost. You are too fat for my liking. We have a new family to start and enjoy. To hell with you now.
I had no money nor a job. The only people I had sent me out of their lives. I was thrown into a state of depression. I slept on the streets, crying my eyes out. My name's Betty, and I'm 35 years old. I was once married, but I was sent out by my late ex-husband and son a few years ago. I own 2 huge restaurants, and I also have a cooking academy. About 5 years ago, I wouldn't have imagined living a life like this, and it was all as a result of my marriage. Now, you might be curious about what my marriage was like to make me say that. Well, I shall tell you. About 10 years ago, while I was working as a receptionist at a hotel, I met Carlos, my late ex-husband. He was quite a regular at the hotel. He was always very straightforward with me and hardly spoke more than 2 words. He barely returned my greetings, but always said, "Thank you," whenever I handed the keys to him. Surprisingly, one day, he struck up a conversation with me. And then it began like that. He would ask if I'm good, how my day was going, and give me a few talks about his business before going in. We got even closer and exchanged contacts. Soon, we began to visit places together and got to know each other even more. Then he asked me out. Of course, I agreed. I developed feelings for him, so there was no point in refusing his proposal. Things progressed quite quickly between us. In the 4th month, I told him about my plan to get a house for myself. He asked if I'd saved enough for it, and I told him I had. After I told him the amount I had, he suddenly began lamenting about how sad he was about not being able to get an office for his business. According to him, he'd been trying and hadn't been able to save up enough. When I asked him how much he'd need, he mentioned the exact amount I told him I had as my savings. I was taken aback. How could he suddenly need that amount?
If you don't mind, baby, could you lend me the money? Once the company is built, I'm going to get us a house, pay you back, and marry you.
He sounded so convincing that I foolishly gave him the whole money I saved for 2 years. He was elated and pulled me into a hug, thanking me. Our relationship continued. Carlos did build a company, and his business went to a higher level. However, his promise to pay me back wasn't fulfilled. Even after 1 year, I moved in with him in the house he bought. I also got pregnant within that period. When I told him, he didn't seem quite pleased.
Do you think it's right for a child to come in now?
Why not? You promised that we'd get married after you get a house and build the company. We could get married and start our family now. He reluctantly agreed, and the plans for our wedding began. It wasn't anything huge. Carlos claimed to be broke. I also didn't have enough to support him, as he'd stopped me from working. So, we had the wedding. Now 6 months after the wedding, my pregnancy was already 7 months. I was starting to make plans for my life after childbirth. I wanted to start a cooking academy, as I had a great passion for cooking. I presented the idea to Carlos, but he vehemently refused.
What? You plan to leave my child in a daycare just so you could pursue some stupid dream?
Stupid? Wow. I can't believe you, Carlos. I've always told you I had it in my plans to own a cooking academy.
Plans? Well, in case you haven't completely understood, you are a married woman now, and with a child. Kill whatever dreams you have. The only thing you should think of is taking care of me and our unborn child, got it?
Shocked isn't the word. I was more than shocked. How could he be so insensitive? I broke down in tears. I put my dream behind my back and focused on my child. I planned to get my money back from Carlos after birthing my son. 1 year after my son's birth, I approached Carlos to discuss his promise to pay the thousands of dollars he owed me.
Promise? I don't remember. What promise?
My heart skipped a beat. I sincerely hoped he was joking. The money I lent to you 3 years ago, which was used in building this company you run now. I need it back, Carlos.
Oh, that? I don't have the money, Betty. Besides, I thought you forgot about it. I mean, we're married. I take care of you and Andrew. You don't work. I use my money to clothe you, feed you, and do every other thing. How do you think I can save up to repay that huge amount? Forget about it, okay? Couples borrow money from each other and never pay back.
As he walked away, I felt my heart shatter. My money was gone. Over $20,000, just like that. I couldn't believe my ears. I tried to bring up the issue 3 days later and Carlos flared up. I wasn't going to accept defeat so easily, so I yelled back. That was when it began. The beatings. That night he nearly beat me to a pulp. I had to run out of his room before he hit me with a bottle. From then, every single mistake I made was accompanied by beating. When our son, Andrew, clocked 3, I noticed that Carlos began to draw him closer. He would take Andrew to school and ask his driver to bring him to his company once school was over. It got to a point that I rarely saw my son. Whenever Carlos was going on business trips, he would leave our son at his parents' and ask them to not let me in. I would go to their house, banging on their gates in tears and begging to see my son, but they wouldn't budge. I reported the issue to the cops when it went on for 6 months. But Carlos had become well known. He had the police at the tip of his fingers. He spoke to the chief and my case was dismissed. I was hopeless. Fast forward to 12 years later. My son was 15 at the time and the same as his father. At only 31, I already had gray stands in my hair. I was also having wrinkles from the stress my husband and son were putting me through. Anyone who wasn't familiar with me always mistook me as a woman in her 40s.
Arrange my room and make the house look good. I'm bringing my friends home later.
Yeah, my son spoke to me like that. I was nothing higher than a maid in his eyes. He ordered me around, told me he didn't regard me as his mother, and even introduced me to his friends as his nanny. His father had groomed him like that. I would blame just Carlos, but Andrew wasn't a fool. He also intentionally did certain things to me. Once when I'd accidentally sprained my ankle, but Carlos and Andrew will force me work nonstop. Once Carlos even poured oil on where I'd mopped and asked me to mop it again. He made me wash every dish in the house and nearly hit me when I accidentally dropped one glass. I had to visit the hospital the next day when the injured feet turned purple. I was admitted and had to be closely monitored, as my leg was at the risk of being amputated. It didn't stop there. He did more to me, and his father supported him. When Andrew was 16, his father brought a strange woman home.
Well, Betty, or whatever it is you call yourself, it's time you leave. We've tolerated your pathetic self enough. Father and I don't need you anymore.
I was heartbroken. My own son called me by my name and said I wasn't needed anymore. I'm your mother, Andrew. How can you say such to me, son?
Hearing you calling me your son makes my ears bleed. Get out before I push you out myself, fat lady. You heard the boy. Get lost. You are too fat for my liking. We have a new family to start and enjoy. To hell with you now.
I had no money nor a job. The only people I had sent me out of their lives. I was thrown into a state of depression. I slept on the streets, crying my eyes out. A month later, I saw it in the news that Carlos had married the young woman. I knew I'd lost. The thought of that sparked something in me. They were having fun with their lives, and I was wasting mine. I decided to leave the streets. First, I got a job as a waitress. It was quite hard due to how bad I looked, but I promised to do a good job and proved it to them. After 2 months of working, I was able to get a small apartment. The restaurant soon needed a head chef after the previous one resigned, and I quickly seized the opportunity to tell them about my skill. They put me to the test and I passed. I was promoted to the level of the head chef. I still saw my husband and son in the news regularly, alongside his wife, but I didn't care. I was more concerned about making my life better. And it happened. I was able to gather enough money after a year and started my own restaurant. I didn't resign. I put skilled people in charge of my restaurant and continued my job. 2 years later, the death of Carlos spread throughout the whole state. He'd been poisoned, of course, by his new young gold digger wife. She'd not only killed him, but had also successfully sold off all of his properties and absconded. Did I feel pity for him? Absolutely not. He brought it upon himself. While the police searched for the lady, Andrew was left stranded. His father's company, cars, and even houses were all sold. He was given a 2-week ultimatum to leave the house where they all stayed. How did I know? Well, he came to the restaurant I worked at in tears, calling me mother and asking for my help. Well, you must have guessed what I told him. Hearing you calling me your mother makes my ears bleed. Get out before I push you out myself, boy. He was shocked. It was clearly written on his face. Regardless, he didn't relent. He grabbed my legs, begging me to forgive him. Seeing that he wasn't going to leave, I decided to do something else. Thief! A thief has broken into the restaurant. Thief! I yelled at the top of my voice. Without waiting to be told, Andrew ran out of the restaurant while I laughed at him. I didn't consider him my child anymore. If his father hadn't died, and the mistress didn't sell off the properties, he would never have thought about finding me. Anyway, the mistress was caught after a month in Dubai and was repatriated to the US. The court sentenced her to 30 years imprisonment. It was all over the news. My husband's parents came to visit me at the restaurant. They asked me to forgive Andrew and forget the past. However, I refused and sent them out, threatening to call the police on them if they refused. I heard later on that they'd been hit by a car on their way home and had died at the spot. I didn't feel any pity for them. Karma had its way of punishing assholes like them, Carlos and his mistress. Andrew also got his share. With his grandparents dead and him not working or having money, he was all alone and frustrated. The rumors had it that he'd tried breaking into someone's house and had gotten caught and reported to the cops. I heard he was jailed for it. I dismissed thoughts about them and focused on making my life even better. And now, 3 years later, I'm at the point in life where I have everything I always dreamed for. I now have a husband, a daughter. Satisfied? That's an understatement. I'm fulfilled. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more stories.